Now to this, the eNCA Cape Epic was one of the first events to fall victim to COVID-19 in 2020, but they did manage to stage a race in 2021. Now, in the 2022 edition, a prologue and 7 stages make up one of the most grueling mountain bike races in the world. eNCA sports reporter Justin Ford is tracking the opening day of proceedings and joins us now with more details. Justin, afternoon. First of all, where are you? And secondly, it looks sunny. I know last week you were at the cycle tour and that wasn't as sunny. So just tell us how the weather's shaping up for today and possibly the next few days.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Hloni. We are at the Lawrenceford Wine Estate where the prologue has taken place. It has been completed already. But in terms of weather, fantastic sunny weather today, a high of 32 experienced. We arrived here just after 12 o'clock this afternoon and trying to get as much shade as possible. The rest of the week, by only Wednesday on account of the forecast, they could expect a bit of rain. But massive contrast compared to what the Cape Town Cycle Tour had to deal with last week, where there was rain from the moment the elites went off at 6:20 last Sunday. So hopefully an exciting time for the mountain bikers around the various routes over the next 8 days. As you mentioned, the prologue today, 7 stages afterwards. Today, Lawrenceford, only 24 kilometers. Tomorrow they step out and do a bit more, but also within the Lawrenceford area, before heading out along the Hottentot Holland Mountains, Elandskloof Mountains, making their way to Stellenbosch and finishing off at the Val de Vie Estate as well. So an exciting time. The cyclists definitely today, having had a look at them, we position ourselves on a makeshift bridge across a dam, something that was introduced last year at the event that they were able to host last year. So we've positioned ourselves on the actual lake where the riders were just cruising along here, just kind of keeping it on the breeze and hopefully not dropping into the water. But weather-wise, all good.
Right, just in terms of that prologue, those 24 kilometers that you said have been completed, and no one fell into the water, of course. Just tell us, how did today go? Obviously, it's kind of setting the scene for what will happen over the next week, right?
So the prologue in itself is very different to stages 1 to 7, whereby the pairs head off at various intervals. So you'll head off with your partner at a particular time. So it started at 7:30 this morning, and the elites, sort of professionals, only headed off, I want to say, around about 1 o'clock this afternoon. So 24 kilometers through double track, single track sections, this water bridge that we positioned ourselves on. In the men's division, South African Matthew Beers, along with his partner Christopher Blevins from America, they claimed top honours, the yellow jersey for today. Whereas in the women's category, it was Pauline, as well, I forget her surname at the moment, as well as South African Robin de Groot, that have taken the leader's jersey in that sense. But tough encounter. I could see, these riders are excited to be able to have a proper event. Last year was a bit of a makeshift event, but fans are actually started to come out at the start and finish line. They do a bit of a loop at the prologue today, but tomorrow they will stay in the Lawrenceford area, whereas from here they're off to Greyton, so from point to point. But in terms of today's action, an exciting, short but sweet, exciting action.
And just tell us about some of the changes that are happening at this year's edition. I mean, obviously having a bit of a crowd at the beginning and the end must be one big thing for them. But just what are some of the other changes that are there?
As you mentioned, absolutely. The fact that supporters can come out and cheer on their loved ones that are competing in the race itself. We saw quite a few lining up here to catch their loved ones, as mentioned. The other big change is that for the last 8 years, the prologue took place at the University of Cape Town on their sports arena, sort of up around the Rose Memorial, Signal Hill, sort of Lions Head and Table Mountain vicinity. So that's the massive big change, bringing it back to Lawrenceford. Lawrenceford had played a very big part in the initial stages. The Epic has been running for 19 years, and as they call it, every year they try to make it different. And this is one of those changes that is arguably probably the biggest. Some exciting sort of riding expected just in terms of the difficulty levels. I think stage 1, they kind of term it as wheels, and tomorrow being stage 1 promises to be the toughest out of the lot. But in essence, changes, yes, from a prologue point of view, and then moving forward, just the difficulty levels in the routes that the participants will have to embark on in order to complete this grueling race.
Well, yeah, we hope to see what will happen over the next 7 days and who will come out as the winner next week, Sunday. That was our sports reporter, Justin Ford from Lawrenceford in the Western Cape, chatting to us at the prologue stage of the Absa Cape Epic.